Friends, willpower is an inner strength that enables you to make and carry out decisions. Willpower impacts every area of your life. Willpower allows you to resist short-term temptations and delay gratification to achieve long-term goals, override unwanted thoughts, feelings, or impulses, respond coolly and calmly rather than behave too emotionally and consciously. Willpower allows you to pursue your goals and enjoy the sense of accomplishment that comes from achieving them. It can improve your overall subjective well-being and help you to feel happier and more fulfilled in your life. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the 5 different research studies conducted on willpower. 1. Stanford Marshmallow Test. Stanford professor Walter Mischel and his team conducted a study for about 45 or 50 years now is how children develop self-control and what the implications of self-control are for their lives as they grow up. Self-control, which used to be called willpower. They started studying the problem of self-control is a measure which was then called the Marshmallow Test. This test was conducted among more than 500 children of age group 4 or 5 years old. The researcher tells the children in a room that they would leave the room and come back in 20 minutes. Until they were given 2 options. If the child ate the marshmallow, they would not get a second. If the child waited until the researcher was back in the room, the child would get a second marshmallow. Researchers recorded which children ate the marshmallow and which one waited. And then the researchers waited. Many seemed to try to reduce the frustration of delay of reward by generating their own diversions. They talked to themselves, sang, invented games with their hands and feet, and even tried to fall asleep while waiting. This test is concluded that when the control of delayed gratification, the ability to wait to obtain something that one wants, develops in children. When the children were teenagers, the researchers revisited the children and asked their parents a series of questions about their cognitive abilities, how they handled stress, and their ability to exhibit self-control under pressure. In general, the children who waited for the second marshmallow scored higher SAT scores, reported lower levels of substance abuse, were less likely to be obese, had better social skills and self-control, according to their parents. 2. Hot and cool system of thinking. Mischel and his team developed a hot and cool system of thinking that explained why children would have eaten the marshmallow immediately. This same system could be applied to any task that involves instant gratification, like making a purchase or smoking a cigarette. The cool system is where most of our when we are not tempted. It's the cognitive ability to think about long-term benefits. We know that smoking is bad for us, and resisting a cigarette will result in long-term health. We know that we will get more marshmallows if we wait. We know that if we go to the gym instead of hitting the snooze alarm, we will feel more awake later and more healthy in the long run. 3. Study on social and economic factors. Not all researchers were convinced that the test had found the one true key to success. So a more recent study set out to redo the marshmallow test, focusing on different social and economic factors that could also play into a child's success. The main factor they chose was the mother's educational background. They split participants into groups based on whether or not the mother had obtained a college degree. Researchers also controlled for factors like family background, early cognitive ability, and the child's environment at home. Children who came from more wealthy homes were more likely to practice self-control. When the researchers accounted for social and economic factors, they found that self-control wasn't necessary in predicting success. Researchers have offered different opinions and came into conclusion wealthy kids don't have too many problems waiting for food, toys, or other things. Their parents can afford it. They'll get it. But kids from lower income families have more to worry about. Food might be scarce. A parent may promise to bring their kids to a nice restaurant or buy them a nice toy, but may not be able to follow through. 4. Study on cognitive capacity. Another researcher, Baba Shiv, a behavioral economist at Stanford University, conducted another experiment on cognitive capacity. For that, he recruits several dozen undergraduates and divided them into two groups. One group was given a 2-digit number to remember, while the second group was given a 7-digit number. Then, they were told to walk down the hall, where they were presented with two different snack options, a slice of chocolate cake or a bowl of fruit salad. The students with 7 digits to remember were nearly twice as likely to choose the cake as students given 2 digits. The reason, according to Shiv, is that all those extra numbers took up valuable space in the brain, making it that much harder to resist a decadent dessert. In other words, willpower is so weak, and the conscious mind is so overtaxed. The idea was that if you distract the brain with a more difficult task of memorizing 7 instead of 2 digits, it would be harder for participants to also make a healthy food choice. 5. Scary parole study. Another research, Kahneman, mental effort, and the scary parole study was conducted at Israel court. This research suggested that justice might actually depend on when the judge ate breakfast. Researchers at Ben-Gurion University in Israel and Columbia University examined more than 1,000 decisions by 8 Israeli judges who ruled on convicts' parole requests. Judges granted 65% of requests they heard at the beginning of the day's session and almost none at the end. Right after a snack break, approvals jumped back to 65% again. The authors of the study plotted the proportion of approved requests against the time since the last food break. The proportion spikes after each meal, when about 65% of requests are granted. During the 2 hours or so until the judge's next feeding, the approval rate drops steadily to about 0 just before the meal. Thus, whenever effort of will or self-control is tiring, the default decision is denial of parole is activated. Thus, the Marshmallow test and other tests has had a lasting impact on psychology and our understanding of how self-control and delayed gratification can influence success in life. By recognizing the importance of these traits and developing strategies to strengthen them, we can improve our ability to make better decisions and achieve our long-term goals. Thank you, friends, for your valuable time. Subscribe the channel to watch more interesting videos. Please do share, like and comment.